Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about how to get a 100% campaign optimization score on Google Ads every single time. Guaranteed. Yes, this isn't clickbait. 100% guaranteed every time, 100% score. Now, that said, does a 100% score actually matter in terms of making money when you distill it all down at the end of the day? Absolutely not. If you want a 100% score because it's like a check engine light in your car that just irritates you for the fact that it's on, and you can't stand it, you don't know quite what it does, but you want it off because it makes you feel good about yourself, go ahead and use this information to get yourself a 100% score every time. If you want to make some real money, actual stuff, something that will make you actual profit in your pocket, you're going to have to do more than get a 100% optimization score on your account. And I'm going to talk about that on today's video as well. With all that said, I'll give you the method as promised in this video, as well as some other supplemental information about what you should really be focusing your time and effort and attention on if you want to make the millions from your Google Ads account at the end of the day. So with that said, Google Ads campaign optimization score doesn't mean anything, or at least correlates strongly with campaign profitability to or for your brand. You want to focus on stuff that has the highest correlation with increasing your profits as possible, or at least first, should your attention be on that, because that is going to make you the most money for the least amount of effort. Also, stuff that's easy to do that has a high level of impact, obviously. A high optimization score doesn't strongly correlate with increasing the profitability of your account. What does, as it kind of ties to campaign optimization score, is proper dissection of the suggestions that Google makes to you that ties into campaign optimization score itself. Because in the recommendations section of your Google Ads account, there's recommendations there. If you have unanswered recommendations, or you don't apply the stuff that Google wants you to apply, you're going to have a lower than 100% optimization score. But Google's in business to make money from Google. I still to this day don't understand why people think that what Google recommends to them in terms of the recommendation section of their account, or the Google rep, so-called Google rep, is the recommendations they're making to you to do to your account, why you should just automatically blindly trust those things will make you more money. Because corporate law says that as somebody who runs a publicly traded corporation like Google has to, and I mean has to, increase the profitability of that company at expense of everything else, including customer satisfaction, including the employees' satisfaction. It's about making money for the shareholders. And if you don't do that, you can actually go to jail. They don't have an option. The executives at companies running the show don't have the option to try to make you more money if it's at the expense of one single dime extra profit for Google, or they could go to jail. So knowing that and having that out of the way now, Google would like it if you could make money, because technically, hopefully that would make them more money. In a lot of ways, your goals are aligned with Google's. However, in many cases, there's not. And I know that, and I can explain that from the standpoint that roughly 70% of the people of accounts I audit don't even track the results. That is, how much profit their ads are directly producing for their companies. They know they can make more money for Google by recommending stuff to you that'll increase your budget, but without increasing your profits, because you're probably not even going to recognize it doesn't increase your profitability, and it will make more money for Google. And they have to do that because the corporate law says they have to do that. It's not even about ethics. Yes, they don't want to rip off a customer and lose money, but let's face, in competitive markets, like you're probably in, there's going to be somebody who takes that ad space on the top of Google no matter what. You lose money, but they take a bunch of money from you over the next 6 months until your bank account's dry. I mean, that's a sustainable business model for them, because somebody else will take those customers. If they only sold the ad space that makes money, then they wouldn't be able to make money on ad space that doesn't make money, and their goal is to sell that ad space too. And so this is all stuff that you have to take into consideration when deciding, A, how you're going to do your strategy on running your Google Ads account, but B, are you going to take advice blindly from Google or not? So with the information I gave you, the answer should be no to that second question. about automatically just doing what Google wants you to do, because if ultimately Google would love to do is just recommend you spend an infinite amount of money on your ads, whether you make money or not, so they can sell all this ad inventory that is ad space that nobody else wants, that's actually tracking the results, so that they can ever increase the revenue and profits of their company, so that stock price consistently goes up, and so on and so forth. So don't come after me, Google. This is just the truth. I've got to talk the truth. I cannot lie people on your platform here. For the reasons I said, blindly trust Google, because Google has its own motivation due to corporate law. Even that, going to Google for recommendations is like if you getting charged for murder and then you go to the prosecutor and ask the prosecutor what you need to do to get out of your murder case. It's conflict of interest. It doesn't make sense. Google, that said, now with all that said, okay, Google does make good recommendations time to time, because at the end of the day, where goals align with your goals is people that come to Google wants them to have a good experience, so they come back to Google in the future, and also like to click on ads in the future. And if they just give the ad space on Google to the person with the most money, they would eventually run out of people clicking on the ads and just shoot themselves in the foot. They want to promote the person that has the highest ad relevancy, that is ads that get clicked through at the highest rate possible, and highest landing page or site relevancy or offer relevancy, which is sites that give high conversion rates. And they're constantly gauging all the advertisers that are rotated out of those top 4 spots on Google, and they want to give the people that get their users the best experience on the ad, the landing page, most of the traffic, because that gets people to click on ads more in the future. So that's a universal truth that's not going to change, okay? With that said, there's certain recommendations they can do that if they see you're a good advertiser, to get your spend up, because you're going to get more clicks, more sales at a similar ROI than you have. And in those situations, the recommendations, they're good, and it actually works out to your favor, because it also works out to their favor. One of the main things that they like to recommend is more ad assets. That is, we used to call them extensions, but things that make the ad physically taller or bigger. Phone extension, site links, call out extension. What should they call assets now? Price assets that make the ad bigger. Those all make a good ad get higher click-through rate, and you make more money. However, one of the other things they love to recommend is broad match keywords, which, if you're in a non-competitive market, more demand than supply, broad match keywords may be able to make you a profit. But in most competitive spaces where you're not the only one doing it, it's very hard to make money with broad match keywords. Nevertheless, they're recommended to everybody because it makes more money for Google. I mean, frankly, to put it frankly here. So you gotta pay attention straight from the source of somebody who's managed hundreds upon hundreds of Google Ads accounts. You gotta be able to decipher which of these recommendations are good and which ones are not, and not just go with any of them just to get a 100% optimization score. For me, I browse these recommendations time to time, but it's actually rare, because the recommendations, actually what's funny about them is they recommend the same shit to every customer the same exact way. If you don't have a call out extension or asset, they recommend it to you. If you don't have broad match keywords, they recommend it to you. And I know, because I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of accounts, I know what they're doing. It looks custom to you because you don't look at hundreds of accounts. So I already know what they're going to recommend without even looking at the recommendations, in other words. I also don't care about my score because it has nothing to do with making actual money. Certain things make money that they suggest, some things they don't. If I got a 100% score, by default, not making the most profit I could, because there's certain things in there for sure that aren't going to be the right thing for our account, for our unique offer, for our unique market. If everything they recommended was good for everybody, by the way, they would just force it on you, because they know that that would always make the customer more money. Why not force it on everybody? But they don't. They give you those options to hopefully, you to decipher. But even then, it's still, if they didn't make you those suggestions to you, you wouldn't do them as often. Therefore, you wouldn't raise your budget as often. Therefore, Google wouldn't make as much money as if they didn't make those suggestions to you. And then they play this psychological game that they know, like the check engine light. If you see something that's, so-called unoptimized, you're going to have anxiety and you're going to want it to just be optimized, because you're not clear as to why Google would lie to you and say you need to have a 100% optimization score to be good. You're just going to go with it. And, that's basically it. So here's the pay dirt here. In order to get to a 100% campaign optimization score, all you have to do is just automatically dismiss every single recommendation in the recommendation section of your Google Ads account. And you will have a 100% optimization score every time. Is it going to make you more money? No. Is it going to make you less money? No. but you would have a 100% score. I'm not saying, like I said, there's no use to the recommendations that Google's making, but just to get, say yes to them all to get a 100% optimization score, that's just plain stupid. You'd be better off saying no to them all than saying yes to them all. So if you really don't know which ones are good, just say no to them all. That's the safer bet. If you want to know which of them are good and you want to know which ones you should use, then you talk to somebody who just manages Google Ads accounts as their full-time job, and they'll tell you. That's just really the smart way to go, not just randomly, oh, that sounds nice, that sounds good, I'm going to go with that one. That's dumb as well. That's like picking a political candidate when you're in the voting booth because a name sounds, nice or whatever. It's about as intelligent to do that as it is with that. So anyway, for the most part, to distill it down though, all the different recommendations in the recommendation section of your account that have to do with making your ad bigger, assuming that you're already making money, will pretty much work. Anything to do with broad match keywords, don't do it. And at the very least, watch my videos about broad match keywords before you do it. And those are the main recommendations they make in the recommendations section anyway. Other than that, they like to try to recommend headlines and new keywords. Don't go with the new keywords. Come up with your own keywords. As far as the new headlines for the ads, those sometimes can be fine. And they're more useful than not. You can go ahead and do that if you don't know how to write an ad that works. You're not an ad copywriter. You don't have experience doing ad copywriting. You can just go with those, and that's generally going to be a better bet than not doing it. But those are the main recommendations that they make and what normally the course you would take with them. But with that said, I'll wrap everything up with that. If you have any questions, leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. You can ask me any ad related question, whether it's about optimization score, Google's optimization score or not, doesn't matter. Ask me the question. I'd be happy to try to answer it as best as I can using my last 10 years of ad experience running this firm at Guarantee PPC to get you on the right track with what you're doing as best as I can, just as a thank you for watching the channel and helping the channel grow. If you are trying to make millions of dollars running ads for your business every year, this is the channel you want to subscribe to. This is my full-time job testing ad strategies on Google, Facebook, and so on and so forth, and this is all I do. The stuff that works as well as the stuff that doesn't work, I share to you on this channel on the weekends, literally speaking, of what I find in my day job during the week. And therefore, the information is 100% valid. Most of the people that you see sharing information about running ads on YouTube don't actually run ads. They say they do, they don't. They're making money off of courses or advertising revenue. They're not running ad agencies and then running and doing the ad strategy themselves. I just do ad strategy. I don't do the execution. I don't also just sit on my butt and run the firm and not do any ad strategy myself. I get my hands dirty. That's why the results we're able to guarantee, the results that we provide. Whereas most firm owners don't do the work, or they're busy selling courses and they're taking vacations and whatnot. The information, real information, is very